We're going to be talking to my sister who was in the Sea Organization, Scientology's paramilitary group. So was I, and share some confessions from that time. Hey, everybody, and welcome. I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult. And we're jumping on doing kind of a last minute video today because my sister Lana happened to be over, and I thought we have got to talk about some of her teenage shenanigans in the Sea Organization. Some of which were Lana doing something, others were of the Sea Org being the culty Sea Org that it is. For those that don't know, in Scientology, the Sea Organization is like the paramilitary branch of Scientology, where you sign a billion-year contract and you work 24/7 for basically $47 a week. And my sister Lana here was trafficked into the Sea Org when she was 14 from Hawaii. And we're going to talk about a few things that happened during her teenage years. Welcome to everybody. Good to see you there in the chat. Hello. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Tina. So we're going to jump right into it because it just continues to shock me when I sit down to have lunch or something with Lana and she just drops these bombs on me. Let's talk about how so what was the position you were in when you had to go find those kids?
I was the lead steward in the galley.
In the galley. Okay. So we're gonna paint a picture here for everybody. Thank you, everybody who's joining us. Let's see. Okay, so
it would have been in the blue buildings.
In the blue buildings in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what you were working at the time as a steward in the galley?
Yeah.
Was I then there? Was I a steward in the galley?
In Continental Liaison Office, I think, at this point.
So I had just moved up to the Dunder Mifflin level of Scientology. But Lana was working in the dining room, and tell them what happened. How old were you when this happened?
I was about 16, maybe almost 17. Mm-hmm. And I was a star worker, I always had breakfast, by myself, which was part of the problem that we're going to talk about.
You had to work breakfast.
Yeah, I had to work breakfast. But anyway, I was a good steward. So one day our commanding officer asked me, where are the boys? Because there were 3 boys, and I'm saying boys because they were minors.
Mm-hmm. They were younger than you.
Younger than me, yeah. They don't come in on time to do the breakfast. So I was kind of peeved about it, and so was my commanding officer. So he let me. He said, go up and wake them up. So I'm like, all right. I said, can I pour ice water on them? And he said, yes. So I got a pitcher of ice water, went up there. Their door didn't have a lock on it due to another story of mine. And with these guys,
you gotta so there were 3 of them, right?
Yep.
These guys were known to be like a little bit kind of like as slackers.
Yeah,
right. They were like the slackers, which is why they were working in the dining room and supposed to show up for work to help with breakfast in the morning, and they don't show up. And so you go up there with 1 pitcher of water.
Yep.
Okay, and you're going to their dorm.
Yep, I'm going to their dorm. So I'm, being really quiet, I'm sneaking in, and I'm hoping that they're not naked or anything. And so I go in there and they're sleeping and one's missing. And so I look underneath the bunk beds, and there he is, sound asleep. He was hiding
on the floor under the bunk bed to avoid work.
Yep. So I went for him, and I silently put the mattress up so that I could pour the water on him.
So he's sleeping.
He's dead asleep. Dead asleep. and so are the other guys.
Mhm.
And so I just pour the ice water over him, and he wakes up. No, and he's trapped down there because there's the underbelly of the bunk bed,
Mhm.
so he couldn't get out. The other guys wake up, hear him panicking, and they're like, "What's going on?" You know, blah blah blah. And nonetheless, I got all three of them up and back to work.
And back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this was kind of like a theme because, again, if you ended up in the galley, most people were actually sent there as a form of punishment for not doing their other job. And so, I mean, that makes a ton of sense. Now, I feel like you need to fill in because there's a reason why these kids, why the lock on their door didn't work. Now, keep in mind, tell me again, you were what, 16?
16, 17.
16, 17, and they were what?
One was 16 and the other two were probably 12 or 13.
Okay, 12. Wow, really young. So no surprise they just weren't up and at 'em to get to work. So what happened that resulted in their door no longer locking?
Okay, so another time.
What happened was
Another time I was sent to their dorm to get them on course. And do you need to explain course?
no, I think they know what it means going on course. You have, when you're a Sea Org member, you're supposed to be studying 2.5 hours a day, studying Scientology. And these kids were not showing up for that. Big surprise.
Big surprise. So so they weren't on course. Neither was I, really. And did I want to go? No. But the commanding officer again was like, "You guys need to go on course." I'm like, "All right." I don't know where the other guys are. They split after dinner. Okay, so he says, "Go to their room. If they're in there, you need to somehow get them out and get to course." I'm like, "All right." Can I kick the door down? So he's like, "Yes." So I go up there, I knock on their door politely first, and I'm like, "You guys, I know you're in there. CO wants us to go to course."
And the CO is the commanding officer.
Yeah. So I hear nothing. And I'm like, "Knock, knock, knock. I know you're in there. You better come out. CO wants us on course." And I hear nothing. And so I'm like, there's a 50-50 chance they're in there.
Hiding.
Yeah, being quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, so I knock harder. I'm like, "You guys, we got to go to course," blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, "Okay, if you guys are in there and you're not answering the door, I'm going to kick your door down and you better not be in there."
You're yelling this through the door.
Yes. And it's echoing all through the whole floor,
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to count to 3 and I'm going to kick the door in." 1, 2, 3, bang! And I hit the door and I kick it in with my foot. Sure enough, they were in there, being silent. I'm like, "Come on, you beeps." So I walk them to course. But yeah, that's why they didn't have a lock on their door, because I had to go up there and bust it in for them to go on course. So
yeah,
that was pretty funny.
You got to break it open. If you got to bust down a door, then you're not going to have a lock after that. And the thing is, it's so Lord of the Flies in the Sea Org, because we're talking about Lana was 16, 17. These kids were 12 and up, but still underage, and just trying to, we were meant to hold each other accountable too. If Lana was doing something that was out ethics in the Sea organization and I knew about it, I was supposed to report and snitch about that. Otherwise, I was guilty of doing it. And so it was so much more common to remember the purpose of the Sea organization is to put ethics in on the planet. They considered themselves to be the most ethical group on the planet. of all of them. So there's a lot of this where you're held responsible for other people way above and beyond as if you were at a normal job. Because I'm pretty sure, tell me if I'm wrong, you guys, but have you ever had a job where you had to go to your coworker's home and kick their door down and have approval to do it as well?
Mm-hmm.
And then pouring water on them kids. And these are teenagers doing this to teenagers.
Yeah, these are my peers.
Mm-hmm. And that's just how it worked. That's like how it was. And there's so many stories like that. In fact, there's a couple other ones you told me.
Mm-hmm.
I told her she has to start writing them down because we could not even remember what it was. And hello, hey Joe, thanks for everybody who is jumping in here. Hey, Sarah, Cricket, Arkansas Flamingo, good to see you. Mama Opal, thank you so much for being here. And as usual, I apologize for the incredible last minute notice. Okay, so
you want to do finding the eggs? Or...
let's see. Let's talk about finding the eggs.
Okay.
So you're working in the dining room.
Working in the dining room still.
But you're waiting on the people who are the Commodore's Messenger org. So these people are like, it's like you're talking to L. Ron Hubbard when you address them. Lana worked with them, but then was busted out of there into the dining room.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Mama's Life. Good to see you. Yep, Robin's sister chat. Totally. So what happened?
So there's strict rules in the Sea Org about what you're getting to eat. So, if you don't like it, you don't have to eat it. But that's what we're serving.
Yeah.
So there are hardly ever any substitutions. And it was against policy to do that anyways. So one day I'm serving the commanding officer for CMO PAC, mm-hmm. which is the blue buildings in LA. And so she's pissed about something, and she comes in and she sits like this.
She got attitude. She got attitude right away. And she's the commanding officer of the Commodore's Messenger organization, which makes her one of the most senior people on the base.
Yeah. So, and I'm about 17 at this point. So she comes in all with attitude, doesn't want to eat what's served.
Mm-hmm. She's too good for that.
And I'm like, I don't know what to do about it, because our policy is no. She wanted eggs. Mm-hmm. She wanted over easy eggs for dinner. And so, when you get told by an executive of yours to do something, you don't come back empty-handed.
Yeah, and you don't tell them why or how it cannot be done. That is what's called backflash.
Right. And how you got it done, they don't care.
They usually don't even want to know.
Yeah, totally. So I'm like really nervous now, and how am I going to get these eggs? The cooks downstairs didn't hardly speak English. They weren't actually staff members in the Sea Org. They were just contractors. And I couldn't find my supervisor to tell her no. So I basically just was like, yes, sir. And, I made an effort to go look and try, but I couldn't. And so I just basically never came back to her. I just left her hanging.
Like left the dining room in the middle of the whole lunch.
Yeah, the whole dinner.
The whole dinner service. Lana is the steward who is supposed to be there. But instead you just like take off because you can't find eggs for this woman.
Right.
And no one to tell her that she has to eat what there is, because as a steward and a lowly steward, you can't tell her that.
Right.
You needed somebody more of authority.
Right. Right. She wasn't having it. She wasn't having no. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, I'm not going to come back then.
Yeah. Which is crazy, because it's so many times in the Sea organization, you guys got to kind of understand the mentality. There is no excuse for not getting something done, for not being compliant with an order. There's no excuse for that. You have to get it done or you will be punished. And the crazy thing is you left her hanging.
Yeah.
never went back, but you didn't get in trouble for this.
No, I saw her many times after that, and she never brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. That is really
didn't
crazy.
get into trouble for that one.
The number of times that we actually, we often, we talk about often the times where we did get in trouble, where we did get busted for something. But there are actually quite a few times where we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, this is an organization that expected teenagers to have the problem solving skills of adults to do these jobs, to make these things happen, where they had no other experience. Lana was 14 when she was in the Sea organization. And what skills do you have for problem solving and running an entire dining room or any of those things? But the expectation is still there. And that's the part that makes it so, I feel like, a big damaging part of being in Scientology and the Sea organization is that expectation that regardless of your age, you were going to make it go right. You were going to figure it out. And it really sets up a lot of kids for failure, because you feel as if you failed, you didn't do your job, or some of us did at that time, but
Mm-hmm.
it's impossible. It's like they're setting you up for failure because you don't have the tools or just the life experience to be able to do these things.
Right.
It's so amazing that you did not get in trouble for that, though. That blows my mind.
I know.
Yeah.
It's I've done a lot of things, little like that in the Sea Org, and I don't know how I got away with it all. No one noticed. No one cared.
Yeah.
So
For some things until
yeah,
they did.
until they did.
Yeah. And what about, I know that in the Sea organization, you became pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
but you were smart in not telling them you were pregnant
Mm-hmm.
till you were past the point of where they couldn't coerce you into ending your pregnancy, even though they still tried.
They still tried.
They still tried. But what type of work did they have you doing when you were pregnant in the Sea organization?
So I was about 5 months pregnant when I came forward, and but you get put on hard labor in normal cases, and being pregnant is no exception to that rule.
Yeah.
So I was lifting concrete, like we were breaking up sidewalks, and the concrete pieces I had to pick up, put in a wheelbarrow, wheel it over to somewhere, and so it was heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I was because I worked in the galley, I was super strong.
Yeah.
And I could pick up a 50-pound box with no problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know that, when I was pregnant, that you're not supposed to do that. And nobody tells you that.
Yeah, when you're pregnant, because you're not supposed to be pregnant in the Sea organization.
Mm-hmm.
is the thing. So they're already, if you're pregnant in the Sea organization, I don't even know what I would liken it to. It's like, what would the equivalent be? I mean, you stand out like a sore thumb. It is such an undesirable thing. You're seen as this scum of the earth because you're doing this. Because it means that you're going to leave the Sea organization and you have to be sent someplace else. So it's very frowned upon, not just frowned upon. People treat you like crap because of it, because you were going to go ahead with having your child. Now, you're in the Sea Org, you're lifting these heavy blocks while you're pregnant. Here's the other thing. L. Ron Hubbard, in the book Dianetics and Science for Survival, gets very specific about how women who are pregnant should be treated. And it's not like that. So this is another classic example of Scientology cherry picking what parts of Scientology they're actually going to go ahead and apply.
Mm-hmm.
Shauna says, unfortunately, they probably hoped you'd miscarry.
Yeah, that could be.
I would not put that past
I
them
wouldn't either.
Yeah, not for a second. So I think you're right. I think you are right. Mock says, so Scientology isn't the gold standard for worker safety. Shocker. It's so true. And you didn't even complain about it. You did the work.
Right.
Because that's what you do when you're a Sea Org member. Part of the code of a Sea Org member is you have, said that you will take on any job, any duty that's given to you as a Sea Org member, and you will do it. You'll basically do anything they tell you.
Yep.
How long did you have to do that?
It was only for a few days.
Yeah.
But you know, all the other work was like sweeping,
Yeah.
you know, little stuff. But still, you know, it was super not okay to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And it was totally wrong. Cubana Chica, good point. That was so wrong. It absolutely was. It's one of many things in the Sea Organization that it's just outright abusive. Sometimes it's outright just neglect. Neglect and abuse is rampant. Sarah says, if the Sea Org members were locked in their room, what if there had been a fire? How would they escape? Well, they locked themselves in the room. In that story that we were talking about, these boys were trying to avoid going to work or going on to course. And Lana had to break down their door and then pull water or all over them to get them to go to work. So they weren't locked in there. Well, they locked themselves in there, at least until Lana broke the door and broke their lock.
Right. Right.
Oh, I'm telling you, Arkansas Flamingo, the more I hear stories like yours and Jenna's today, the more sad I become. I'll be making a donation to the SPTV Foundation shortly so other women have resources to leave. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing that. And Desert Dog says, seems the Miscavige generations are more blatantly abusive and just wrong. I would agree with that. I think that it's not like it was a cakewalk before David Miscavige, but David Miscavige definitely put his own cult twist on it. And I would say the cruelty in ways, you know, became worse.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. What you got?
We got another one? We got time for another one?
Yep, we do.
Okay, hold on. I already forgot.
She must consult the list.
Do you want to talk about the laughing thing? Got busted by this DCOI twice, or the other DCOI's underwear?
Hey, Kasri. Yeah, do the underwear one.
Okay. Okay, so I think I'm still 14 at this point, years old in the Sea Org. And so after the regular EPF, which is the training you have to go through in order to be a Sea Org member, you have to do another EPF,
which is the Estates Project Force. It's like boot camp for Sea Org members.
Yeah, you have to do another one if you want to be in the Commodore's Messengers organization. So with totally different courses and everything. So one day the how do I explain DCOI?
It's like basically like the deputy commanding officer.
Yeah. So she comes in, she pulls me and my girlfriend aside with her husband, who also worked there. And you know, they're sitting and I'm kind of like, ooh, what's going on? You know, because they're really serious.
And what was your job at that point?
I was doing laundry.
Okay.
And so was my girlfriend. So they very seriously say, I have holes in my underwear and I don't know where they're coming from.
Both of them or just the wife?
Just the wife, but the husband, you know, was very, very, you know, like,
yeah, we need to find out where these underwear holes are coming from.
Yeah. So they're very serious, and I'm like, okay. I'm 14. You know, what do you want me to say?
Yeah, what do you want me to do about your holy underwear?
I didn't even do your laundry. So we had to find out. We were given the task to find out what's going on with her holy underwear. And so we did some investigating, and come to find out our other peer, Anna, was doing this woman's laundry and was spraying the crotches with some sort of what do you call that?
Like bleach or something?
Yeah, something that she made up. And yeah, it wasn't even,
she made it up, like she created the concoction of spray.
Yes, exactly. And anyway, it was burning holes in this woman's underwear. So we were relieved that we found out what exactly was going on, because I didn't know what to tell them. And so we tell them, and they're like, "Oh, okay. Tell her not to do that anymore. We thought it was me."
Like she just had some type of aesthetic
something.
vagina or something.
Exactly. And they were so relieved. They're like, "Oh, thank goodness."
Or be like, I need to see a doctor.
Yeah, I actually had, a lot of run-ins with executives while being a little pissant Sea
Yeah.
Org member.
Well, that's because they had a lot of, I feel like the younger kids who joined the Sea Org were put in the Commodores Messenger org and were always in positions of waiting on the more senior staff members, because you're doing your estates project force and you have to work in housekeeping and all that to get through it. But that they always had, like L. Ron Hubbard back in the day had messengers who were these young girls that spoke on his behalf. And then that was carried forward with the Commodore's Messenger organization, and still using, children to hold those posts and do those jobs. Like you said, Lana was 14 when she started. And when you were in the Sea Org, there were kids who were Sea Org members as young as 12.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we weren't allowed to call them kids or refer to them as children. They were Sea Org members.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a thought. Darn it. What was it? It was one of those, did you know stories? Oh, and it'll come back to me.
About the 12-year-olds, maybe?
That was about the Sea Org.
Yep. Kestrel, teenagers are tough even in the Sea Org. You have to be tough to survive the Sea Org. You do. It will chew you up and spit you out. To the strongest people, even, it'll chew you up and spit you out, because Scientology is mind control and damaging. And so, I mean, it really doesn't matter who you are, but it takes on a whole new, I think, twisted level of abuse when you're talking about putting these teenagers and children, 12-year-olds, in positions of authority at times, and having the expectation that they're to carry out a job that they are not equipped to do. It's just, that's something that has always been an issue in the Sea organization. And it's how people end up getting hurt.
Yeah, I remembered what my story was. Did
okay.
you know that Mom asked me when I was very little? I was probably under 9 for sure, maybe even under 7 or about 7 years old. She asked me if I wanted to join the Sea Org and be a Commodore's Messengers person for LRH personally.
At 9?
Yeah.
Was he alive?
Yeah,
then?
he was still
That's
alive.
right, because you would have been 9. He died in 86. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. He would have been alive. I didn't know she asked you that.
Yeah, she was totally serious too.
She was going to ship you off at 9 years old.
She was going to do it. Yeah. And I'm like,
wait, why didn't she ask me?
I don't know. I don't remember you being there.
Well, if you were 9, I was 11.
Yeah, you must have been somewhere. Maybe because I was like a pen pal with LRH's staff. So she knew I had a lot of affinity for him at the time. And affinity for you,
affinity for me. It's a stupid Scientology song.
Yeah, just
from the Road to Freedom album.
Yeah, she and I said, well, do I get to see you? And she said no. So I'm like, yeah, no.
No, I did not know that. I wonder why. Maybe that was why. Maybe because you were writing letters and stuff with L. Ron Hubbard or his staff, but that's still a messed up thing. And as messed up as that is, our mom, like many parents in Scientology, believed that that would be the right thing. That the environment would be, that would be the best environment for Lana, because you would be basically doing God's work, but in Scientology, doing L. Ron Hubbard's work.
Yeah. I could have been one of those kids that get, stuck in the bilge, of the ship for punishment for hours.
Yep. Dylan knows the song. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We in affinity.
Yeah. One of these days, I mean, there's probably some kind of copyright. We'd have to demonetize the video. We should do a reaction video to the Road to Freedom songs.
I wonder, are you allowed to do a spoof on it?
Yeah.
Like make a video with a spoof on it?
Yeah.
And-
Kelly Copter's done it many times.
Oh.
Not so much the Scientology songs, but she's done spoofs with other music, because if you take it and you alter it, then it's like you can then use it. So
Oh, okay.
we should do that. Although
Yeah.
we've been threatening to, because any of you who have been with us or been with the channel here since December, do you guys remember the song that Lana wrote this and we performed, and David Miscavige bought our single, which was used as a fundraiser for the Scientology building in the Twin Cities? I don't know. Lisa Kelson, you've been around a while. You may or may not remember. But do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember that? I don't know if you guys do. We should play the song.
Yeah.
We haven't, I'm going to play the song because I got it loaded up. I know I have it on here.
Couldn't figure out how to do it last time. Did you figure it out?
I did figure it out. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
awesome.
mortifyingly
Oh,
embarrassing.
it's terrible.
It is the worst. Okay. It's so, and the crazy thing, it's like I had one foot out the door when we did this, but
Yeah.
I just did it for shits and giggles. And then it was more like a joke, but the OT committee, which is the operating Thetan committee, which is basically like PTA in Scientology, they took it and then started selling it to raise money for the building. And then they took it to David Miscavige and then he bought a copy. So yeah, David Miscavige, you bought our single.
Yeah.
Now we declared suppressive people.
Yeah.
It wasn't a long time ago. Me and Taz, you remember, okay, it is the worst. So let's play it for you while we're here. Let's see here. Where is it? It's called I Am the Cavalry. So let's see. I'm going to turn this up. Make sure you guys can hear it. Here we go. Mortifyingly embarrassing song that Lana wrote and we sang as a joke, but actually got sold in Scientology.
We are the cavalry.
Let me know if you guys cannot hear.
You are the cavalry. We are the cavalry. You are the cavalry.
I am the cavalry now, that's a reality. Looking in the mirror, it's me. Won't risk fatalities. Time to make it happen right now. For real. Ain't got time to waste. Now's the time to go ideal.
That's all we will torture you with today. That's right, Sandy. It was so bad. It was so bad, but it was so fun. No, Jill, we did not get a cut of the money. I don't know how much it raised. No, all the money went to the Scientology building. Gary, too late. We just played a little bit of it. I hope you covered your ears. See, Lisa remembers that classic song. Yeah. Me and Taz says, I'll sing it for you. Yeah. Super, super embarrassing. Yeah. How fearsome are the church's lawyers? Nah, not at all. Scientology is really not suing anybody. They are so afraid of what we would say in an actual court of law that they just don't do it anymore. They learned their lesson with Debbie Cook, who ran the Flag Land base in Clearwater. Scientology tried to bring her into court, and then she unloaded all the information she knew about David Miscavige and the hole at the international base. And by doing that, they basically were like, time out. And they just threw money at her to go away and stop talking. They are the ones that brought her to court. And they ended up giving her money to go away. And so that is the main reason why Scientology, you don't actually see them. Look how many books have been out. No lawsuit. Scientology Aftermath, no lawsuit. They know the truth will come out. Thank you, Andrea. That's right. We hit 21,000 subs recently.
Woo!
Yes. Thank you so much. Philosophy. You want to scrub that from your brain. That was a song that Lana and I, when we were in Scientology, which got turned into a fundraiser for Scientology. It's the worst. Joe, that's a good idea. We need a revised version out of Scientology.
We do. We've been working on it.
Have you? I've not been working on it. Yeah. I hope that you have.
Something's cooking.
Yep, that's right. Nin, you remember when I played it for Aaron? I think he almost died the first time I sent it to him. I'm like, listen to this. And I felt that like I wanted to share it and play it because I didn't want somebody else releasing it later. That would have been mortifying. So we got in front of it.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, we did that. We did that. We know we did. Ooh, pause for Andrea. Are you making Jenna's oat milk cookies? Awesome. They are so good. Philosophy says that song reminds me of late 80s positive hip hop songs. Cheesy, but trying to be hood. That's accurate.
Exactly.
That is accurate. Karen, new singing career for Natalie and Lana. You would be epic. No, Lana sings. I do not sing. I do not have the talent, but I don't let it stop me. I will still do it. I don't
Isn't
think
that funny? I can sing, but you can talk.
Yeah, that's true. Lana can sing. I can talk. I cannot sing. And Lana's not super, super talkative.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Lisa, we could have Kelly Copter produce it. Yeah, we do need to do something like that. The remix. Yes, exactly. We need the remix. Now, part of why we wanted to share this too is that there's so much right now. I know I'm getting a lot of emails and questions right now too. More people wanting to know about life in the Sea Organization and what that is actually like. A lot of it is because with Emily Armstrong being in the news with Lincoln Park and knowing that she grew up in the Sea Organization and the Cadet Org. So we thought we'd hop on, share some of those stories. And those are the things that aren't like the worst of what happened. I mean, kind of honestly, too, we wanted to talk about some of their stupid things that would happen and the way that children were seen, but not get into as much as the heavy stuff, at least not today.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much, but we just didn't want to go that deep in it, to be honest, because it really messes with your head sometimes. Lana, can you dance and walk? Desert Dog says Disney rap. I know, that's hilarious. There's one more story I want you to share. It was, oh my gosh, let's look at your list because I forgot what it was. There was one I know I thought was hilarious.
Okay, so I'll start at the top.
Yeah, so we did that. Yeah, cannot do that one. Did that. We did that. Oh, that one. The king size Snickers.
Yes, the king size Snickers. So it was around Christmas time. And I don't know. Well, everybody knows what Secret Santa is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we do Secret Santa. And I was dating a boy at the time. Well, I can't name him, right?
You can say his first name.
Bill.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's no reason even why you can't name him, because if we're not saying anything about him, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
we're not. It's not anything bad.
No.
But anyway, so his dad was a big exec in OSA PAC.
And they had the same name because Bill was a junior.
Yep. So they were both named Bill or William. And so his dad was a big exec at OSA. And so I go into the OSA building at the little tiny front desk, and I drop off this king size Snickers with a little Santa clip on it. It was so cute, for Bill. And I said to the receptionist, "This is for Bill." And
hold on a quick sec. I got to fix this. That's right. Lana can dance and you can walk.
Oh,
I read that wrong. Thank you, me and Taz. So you take the Snickers bar to Bill's office and you leave it with him with a little Santa on it for him to have.
And I couldn't say who it was from because it was a Secret Santa.
Yeah.
So so I leave it, and later on, I don't see Bill for the whole day. Later on, we're in a meeting at OSA, and it's in a meeting with Mr. Bill.
Bill Sr.
Bill Sr.
Mm-hmm.
And
her beau's father.
so soon his wife, Bill Senior's wife, comes by the door and she's like, with the Snickers
Yeah.
and the Santa. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get totally busted for some reason. But anyway, it turns out that I didn't know that at the time, that they were named the same. And so basically Bill Senior's wife took my Snickers, my Secret Santa that was going to my beau, and basically ate it and didn't even give it to her husband anyways. So that was kind of funny.
It's like she thought you were just giving her husband some random Snickers bar.
Yeah.
What's crazy is she probably knew it was you because she went and asked reception.
Yeah, and they obviously would have said, well, it was that girl who's in the meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
How embarrassing is that? Why would I give him that? I didn't even know him. And he was really scary too.
And in OSA.
Yeah. No sense of humor.
So true.
Man.
Part of, I think, in many ways that we survived that environment in the Sea organization was finding those moments where, we could laugh and have fun and just try to find some levity in the seriousness, because the Sea organization is so serious. Because remember, people, the fate of the entire planet was riding on our shoulders. So, yeah, it's all our fault. Because Lana and I were slackers in the Sea Org. The planet is the way that it is today. But that was a lot of it, of how I think that we got through it, is just trying to, find those moments of even if it was embarrassing or funny, it just brought some levity to such a stressful situation, because every day you have so much pressure on you to produce. No matter what your job is, you have to get your statistics up. It's just constant pressure. No matter what, there's no acceptable excuse at all. None of them. What's Joe saying here? A fancy for senior beau. Phoenix Fire 420 says you should do a mashup of your song with a song from the original Linkin Park. Oh, then we definitely get some hate, because we're not trying to mess with Linkin Park's music. Let's leave that to Emily Armstrong. That's right, Jersey Jan. Shocker. Spoiler alert, it is not all Aaron's fault. It's the fault of all of us who were in the Sea organization and failed to do our job. Exactly, Mock. We got to laugh at absurdity. And that is so much of it. And even now, I appreciate when we can talk about some of these things that happen in the Sea organization that were not good, but we were able to find the levity in it, and the humor today. And for us, it brings balance. It allows us to speak about the other things, the things that are truly horrific in Scientology and in the Sea organization. But there just has to be that, right? That balance. It can't
gotta be a balance.
It can't be all ick. It cannot. Let me see here if I just grabbed all of your questions and stuff here. Those are some good stories, though. And this is the kind of stuff that happens in the Sea organization. And you somehow are supposed to have this billion-year contract commitment when you're, 14 years old, like Lana was going into the Sea Org. Me and Taz, Natalie, do you play a mean tambourine? Oh, tambourine. Yes. Where is it? It's around here. That's right. There was a video and I jumped in on and I added my tambourine music and said I was with the band. Totally. Mama's life, so true. Happy we had each other. The crazy thing is we hardly ever saw each other.
Right.
Even though we probably lived in the same building and almost never saw each other, because we always had to be on our job. We always had to be doing our thing.
Yep.
It was unusual that we'd actually run into each other.
It was.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. Let's see. You're right, Karen. Laughter is the best medicine. And we're going to keep sitting down and doing more videos like this. I'm telling Lana when she remembers things from the Sea Org to write them down so that we can talk about it, because a lot of these things are not things that we talked about then, or we even think about, because we're usually just talking about regular life stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought it'd be fun to start making note of them and then coming here and sharing those. Mock says, I love planning ahead, but even I find a billion years excessive. Exactly. I guess at least in the Sea Org, you know what you're going to be doing for the next billion years, and you don't need to worry about picking out an outfit. Because you have, your uniform.
Yeah.
And if you could all do me a favor and hit that like button and hit subscribe as well, especially if you want to hear more content like this. Joe, did you have nightmares when you got out? Oh, for years. Usually my nightmare involved them coming to get me, chasing me down somewhere and forcing me to go back. And the real nightmare is when I would agree to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had the exact same nightmares.
Where they're chasing you.
Yeah. And then you're somehow back in. And then you're like, oh my God, I have to call my husband. What about my kids?
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. And you're just panicking.
Yeah. It's really, yeah. And I mean, I want to say my nightmares stopped maybe 3 years ago. Remember, I've been out for 14 years and I do get nightmares when I protest. When I was in Kansas City protesting just a couple of weeks ago, I had nightmares again. Otherwise, I don't have the nightmares so much anymore. But when I go back out and protest Scientology, I almost always have nightmares within about 24 to 48 hours of doing it, which is definitely not going to stop me.
Right.
That's right. Lana's got the anecdotes. Yep. And she's writing it down now. Cool Blue, the tough stuff. It's not so fun at times, but got to get some laughs now. Priceless. Truly. Absolutely. Jill says, if you know someone's still in, but telling they can listen, if they use that song, sue them for rights. I don't think anybody's going to want to be using that song for anything. Mm-hmm.
Nope.
That's interesting about the nightmares. Yeah, it's funny. I don't know. They did stop, but they only come back when I show up again, which I get. And maybe one day that'll stop too. But it is disturbing to have a dream that people are coming to get you and then you agree to go with them and you're so defeated.
Yeah.
It's like
Just in jail again.
Yeah, you're in jail again. Exactly. All right, everybody, that is what I got for you. And again, hit that like and subscribe on your way out. I'll be doing tomorrow. If you're catching this in real time now, it is Wednesday. Thursday, I'm actually not going to do the recap first thing in the morning because I have a meeting. I'm probably going to do it later on in the day or something, but I will put out a notification about that. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Lana. And as per usual, I hope you all get out and have an amazing cult-free day.